Hi guys, Luca here from Sabre Airsoft with another video on grease this time. And the reason I'm doing this is because just recently Waldo Dynamics released this grease, this perfect PTFE grease. His naming convention is always a bit funny. I've always kind of enjoyed his naming convention and the fact that he sticks with his brand, like his brand colorings, everything about what he does sticks with his same theme. Even the box that it's delivered in comes with purple tape. I don't think I've ever had a box delivered with purple parcel tape. So 10 out of 10 for keeping to your brand. He released ages ago a bunch of silicone oils, and I remember saying at the time that silicone is something that we are kind of moving away from in the airsoft world, especially in the gas blowback world, because silicone interacts badly with silicon, and it's not as performant as, say, what PTFE is. And in fact, if you go and watch Explosive Enterprises' fantastic video on this, I'll put a link in the description below. He goes into great detail about why you shouldn't use silicon and you should instead use PTFE grease, in particular this Super Lube Grade 2. And whilst that video is absolutely brilliant, obviously it's now we've got other things coming out. So you're not just got, say, for example, this here, but there's also the Jaeger 1 pens as well. So which one's the best one to use? Straight off the bat, I'm going to say this I would only use on seals. If it was all you had, this is still better than nothing. But I would still only use this on O-ring seals in mags. That's probably the only place I would ever use it. Otherwise, not really. This Jaeger 1 stuff, I have used this extensively, and in fact you can even see I've used that, and I've got more pens that I've gone through pens, and these are great, and I do quite like these, especially if it's got a built-in brush, so you're never mixing cross-contaminating different lubricants. But the problem with these is they're small. You don't get a huge amount, and as a tech, I tend to go through quite a lot of this stuff. So for me, personally, these aren't great. I don't know what the base ingredient of these is either. All I know is it's not silicone. James hasn't told me, he refuses to tell me, and at this point, I think he's doing it just to wind me up. Which is fair enough. A lot of people do that. They just like to wind me up. I'm easily wound up, apparently. Super Lube, obviously that's PTFE based with, Syncolon PTFE, which is, I think, their own formulation. And again, this one is PTFE based, but I don't know the exact formula either. I don't know how the formula compares to Super Lube. And there's also one other very important thing. It is extremely pink, and I mean really pink. You can't help but notice how pink it is. And my first thought was, yay, I'm going to end up opening up a load of replicas and it's just going to be covered and caked in pink goop. And in fact, if you've ever watched the original Power Rangers movie, this is what it reminds me of. Obviously, in the Power Rangers movie, it was more purple goop, but this to me looks and reminds me of that. With Waldo's face on there and it being so retro. I can't help but think of the original Power Rangers movie. So I have done some testing with this, but I don't have the means to do proper testing. And by that, I mean have a recreatable and accurate test, like a repeatable test. I don't have that means to do that. There is a way to test greases for performance. There's a very, very established methodology. But again, I don't have that ability. I'm going to try and reach out to some people I know who are either at university doing mechanical engineering or some of my old lecturers at university and see if they can assist in just testing this stuff out. But the little testing I have done is quite promising. One of the key differences between these two is the consistency. This is quite viscous, this is less so. It's not liquid, but it's certainly less viscous. I'll try and do a little bit of a demonstration here. Just grab a brush. I need to get some new ones. I'm just going to show you try and show you how far I found this to go. So I'm going to grab just a small amount, dab like that. I'm just going to draw it across until it stops appearing. underneath the brush. So it might not, it might go all the way, but I'd say, no, that's still going. It went all the way across, just to confirm. Yep, pretty even coverage there. Excellent. Just give that a quick clean off. Now, as I say, this isn't going to be a completely fair test, as I can't get this brush perfectly clean. I got most of it off, but it is unfortunately going to be a little bit of an unfair test. This is just a demonstration. Try and get a similar amount. As you can already see, look, as I go through this, it's really fluid in comparison. So it's approximately the same amount. So I would say I can't see as much, but I did stop and start halfway, so I'll do that again in the interest of fairness. I mean, it looks to be like, and again, it's going to be hard to see this on camera. I'm just trying my best to look closely here. But it looks to me like there is less on the Waldo stuff. It looks like it ran out faster, and it looks like it ran out about here. Yeah, there's nothing there. So it doesn't transfer as easily. But, I mean, let's be honest, I'm probably going to do this anyway when applying it to something. This is just a bit of aluminium extrusion, by the way, guys. And as I say, this isn't a proper qualitative test or even quantitative. Sorry, it's not a proper quantitative test. It's just me trying to show, yeah, that's pretty even coverage with a brush. So going on with a brush, yeah, it's pretty good. And again, this is still here, but it's all the way along. And it is leaving that nice film that I expect PTFE-based lubricants to leave. But you'll also notice that you can't see the pink. You can where obviously it's gathered a little bit. But overall, yeah, I was the bit that I thought, oh, I'm going to have like just pink everywhere in my gun, in my replicas. Nope. Just where it's thick, but just like with Super Lube, you shouldn't be putting this on thick. Now obviously I'm going to do some long-term testing like I did with the Jaeger 1 pens, although I don't think I ever really made a video about that. But initial impressions with this dirty brush are pretty good. I would say it's not bad. These cost $8.99 for, I think it was a 45 gram pot. Super Lube, it'll cost you about £11 on Amazon if you can find it, and that's an important part, for an 85 gram tub. So price wise, you might argue that you're getting more value for money from the Super Lube. Accessibility wise, you're probably more likely, at least in the UK, to be able to get the Waldo Dynamics stuff than you are the Super Lube stuff. And unlike Super Lube, which is a very American brand, this is a British brand. Support British, even though this is lovingly made in China. To be fair, these days, what isn't? So it's, as far as the testing goes with the gas blowback pistol that I used, it was about the same, really, as Super Lube. I wouldn't necessarily say it's better. I'd say it's a different consistency. It's stickier. No, it's not as sticky as Super Lube. But I'm certainly going to be testing this on a number of things going forward, just to see if I can determine if it's any good. But as I say, out of the box or out of the pot, seems pretty good. I do like that it's easier to access with the brush. I don't have to worry about storing this vertically and then having to squeeze it out and squeeze it out and squeeze it out. So yeah, there you go, Waldo. So far, first impressions, not bad, which for me is quite good. Anyway, that's it for this one, guys. I do have more content coming. I've just been swamped with AEGs. Obviously, just AEG it. Very important. And read the manual. And also, Chris is always watching. Anyway, that's it. Catch you on the next one.